Welcome to the Evans Legacy Financial Podcast, where real people have real conversations about money, mindset, and making moves. I'm your host, Jake Evans, and this show isn't about fluff or hype. It's about educating our community, sharing stories, and giving you the tools to make better decisions in business and in life. Let's dive in. Good morning and welcome back to the Evans Legacy Financial Podcast. Today's episode is about the power of mission. Today's guest is Jose Rodriguez. Jose, welcome. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you. Jose's a seasoned financial professional from Madera with over a decade of experience. He spent some time in San Francisco's financial district at AIG, a proud father of four. He's passionate about serving families locally and nationwide with a mission to help 1 million families achieve financial independence. So, Jose, really quick, back to the beginning. You were born in Mexico. You grew up in Madera. So what was it like growing up in Madera, and when did your first interest in finance begin to show?
Okay. Yeah, growing up in Madera, I think was a huge blessing. Small town. Definitely grew up around people that instilled a lot of huge and important tools that we need to, that should be embedded in us, as individuals, hardworking, helping, being there for people, helping people out, growing, and just, I think my first interest, I was always interested in numbers. I was always good at numbers. Growing up in school, I did great at math. I always, I tried to challenge myself, which I think we stopped doing, when we get older, we just try and take the easy shortcuts, but challenging ourselves is gonna help shape us. But growing up and understanding and loving numbers, to growing up to getting out in the workforce, to understanding how we get paid and whatnot, and was just always in me, and I felt that it was something that we needed to get out there to help people understand the importance of finances and numbers, how we can, make a big difference for ourselves. So your early influences, we had a conversation earlier, but your early influences were like your teacher. You had a specific teacher in school that you went to that really instilled a lot of the values and the importance of finance and things like that. Yes. Through his teachings of everything was about numbers, right? Out on the ball field, in Correct. The classroom, whatever. How did that shape you? How did that kind of point you toward that career? That was big, man. We, not knowing at the time, because we would complain about, he's got to make us run more labs, he's making us do more homework, extra assignments, pop quizzes and whatnot, prepped us. And yeah, you're right. And thank you for reminding me. He everything was about numbers. In the books, he was, I would say, arguably one of the best math teachers that I've ever come across. And this particular teacher was teaching us inside the classroom, challenging us, calling our numbers, pop quizzes, the whole shebang, make sure we're always ready, right? But even out there when we, playing sports, whether it's basketball, soccer, whatever the case may be, it was all numbers. How many laps? What's the mileage? What was the time? Let's beat your time from last time. And that in itself, I think, creates metrics. Create metrics, right? And it all comes down to numbers. You want to be able to, we talked about goal setting and whatnot, and breaking records. You always want to make sure you keep track of the metrics, but understanding the metrics, just like finances. If you don't understand it, then it's tough to improve. Right, and that's another tool that we're talking about too. So you went from there. You went from Madera, grew up, you finances and things like that, watching everything. Watching what your parents did. Watching it wasn't really discussed. We had a discussion. So you went to the Bay Area. You kind of says, I'm going to go give it a shot here, and you spent 10 years with AIG. So how did that shape your understanding of the financial world, and what lessons carry you forward from that time? Right. It was a big move, night and day, going from a small city, farm town, to San Francisco. Which I never felt that I always said to my ex-wife, I love visiting San Francisco, but I'm never moving here. But so be careful. I did the same thing. Be careful what you say, right? But I think it was a chapter that helped shed some light on what I do right now. Right, that was the beginning. Working at AIG was huge because I got I started doing IT, and that's all numbers. IT, if you know it,
it's ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros, right? The whole world is numbers, right? But
well, everything, the foundation of the planet, down to the molecular and atomic level, is all based on a 1 or a 0, a positive charge or a negative charge.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's crazy.
It's either on or off. And when you put those ons and offs together, the AND gates, the NAND gates, all of that stuff in tech, it's all how everything is built. Colors, everything is built on ones and zeros.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that was the initial for me, but starting there, working in the corporate setting, great environment. I had good mentors, great mentors. I was blessed to be able to get that job, and started doing IT. Slid more into workers' comp, GL, insurance, okay, and then investments, and that was the initial, because I started making great relationships with some of the profit center managers. They'd plant the seeds. Hey, Jose, so what's your investing game? What's your portfolio? What's your brokerage account? And mine, I'll tell you, Jake, my portfolio was my wallet, checking savings, and my sock drawer. That was it. That was my portfolio.
And that what's funny is you say that, and most people today, that's where they sit. I say that 80% of society right now, that is where they sit.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't understand, they don't know who to go to, they don't know who to trust. So again, I was planted there, it was not by coincidence. So I made great relationships with a lot of the profit center managers. And they actually say, hey, you need to come work with us, Jose. You're genuine, you're likable, you speak English, Spanish. I speak 3 languages, by the way. Okay. English, Spanish, and French. French fries, French toast, right?
All right.
Bada bing, bada boom. So I was like, I've always been interested in finances and investments and whatnot. Hey, Jose, read this book. Rich Dad Poor Dad was one of the first books I read, and opened up my eyes. I thought, oh my God, I've always prayed for 2 things: health and financial stability. Health being number 1 for all friends and people around me, right? And so that was the initial. That's what opened up my eyes. And what happened in 2008?
Everything went to hell.
Market crashed.
Yep.
And so that lit a fire. Like, okay, I got to understand this stuff. And then you fast forward, coming in to work with these partners right here has just been, it's been a blessing.
So you went from that, and then these experiences prepare you for working and serving, branching out, working directly with families. How did that transpire? How did you take that, or that transition?
Well, it was big because working at AIG. It's more in the corporate setting. You're working with all the big corporations, big money, right? And I'm just one of the guys helping put together some of the stuff on the underwriting side, and so it wasn't huge, it wasn't impactful, but it was a learning, the prepping stage. Sliding, when I had the opportunity to come work here, I had a pretty good foundation, and I thought, well, now I can actually make an impact face to face, at people's homes and kitchen and family and friends, community, all that stuff. So I think the foundation was working and living in the Bay Area, coming back home to the Central Valley, which has always been home for me, which was it was a huge opportunity, a huge blessing, and it allowed me to make a difference and start making some impact here at home.
Okay, so that brought you back. It brought you back to the Central Valley. What brought you back? What made you decide to come back?
Man, Jake, it was probably one of the toughest decisions I had to make. Okay, getting down, getting personal. I was going through divorce.
Okay.
So I was living in the Bay Area for 1.5 years, 2 years after my divorce, and I said to myself, I wasn't really happy, to be honest with you, in the Bay Area. Not to say it just wasn't for me. I was away from home, from family and whatnot. So I made a decision, talked to my kids. I said, I'm coming back home to Fresno. I would love for you guys to come back with me. And of course, I expected, no, we're going to stay with mom. My youngest was born in San Francisco. So I said, okay, I'm only 2.5 hours away, 3 hours away. I'll come down every weekend. And I did that for years and years and years and years. I still do that.
Right.
Okay. But it was a tough decision from a business perspective. From a business perspective, it was the best decision that I made.
Yeah.
But I came back home. It drew the passion and the fire that I had instilled to be able to come and make a difference at home. Because a lot of the teachers, friends, family that I've known since I was 5-6 years old, man, they need our help. Everyone needs our help. But to be able to help them, Jake, is you can't put a price tag on that.
And that brings us to our next next question is, being close to your community kind of fueled your passion for the financial education. Now let's talk a little bit about that. Is that's what we do? We're not advisors.
Correct.
We're not we don't work the stock market or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about education and why that financial education and why that's important.
It's where it all starts, man. In any subject, in any realm, if your level of understanding is on a scale 1 to 10, 1, 2, or 3, then the outcome of your decision is not going to be great. Mm-hmm. Okay. Whereas if your level of understanding on a particular subject is much, much higher, then the outcome is going to be a lot better. Same thing in finances. Okay. Obviously here, yes, we're the experts. When we sit down and talk to our clients, we want to educate them so that they buy into what we're doing. At the end of the day, Jake, just like the products and services speak for themselves.
Yes.
We're the middleman.
Right.
We're just providing that extra level of service that I wish our parents and aunts and uncles and relatives had. Unfortunately, they didn't. We can't turn back the clock, but we're able to sit down and help them understand the basics. Once they understand the basics, common sense kicks in.
Yep.
It's like if I tell you, hey, look, you got $10,000. I'm going to sell you this, and I'm not knocking any type of vehicle. I'm going to sell you this Ford. It's got 200,000 miles. Okay, and I'm going to sell you this other. It's the same model car, but it's only got 25,000 miles on it. Okay. What do you think is going to last in your future? What's going to do you well? The one that's got less mileage because it's got less work,
right?
So you understanding, hey, less mileage, less wear and tear, it's going to be a better outcome for you. But helping you understand, it's like handing somebody the keys to something, right? Mm-hmm. And if they don't understand what the heck they're doing, they're gonna miss their next red light and get into a car accident.
Well, it's true too. You just said handing the keys to somebody mm-hmm. without knowing which lock it goes to.
Oh, boy, that's good.
Okay. So you're standing at Blackstone and Herndon here in Fresno, and you're with a client, and I just sold them a house. So I'm in real estate. And I just sold them, and I said, and they're from out of town, and they just moved here.
Right.
Here's your keys. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't educate them where the house is, all of that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the value.
Yeah, the value.
So
the value of education today for our clients and our people is priceless.
Yeah, I tell people this, Jay. I say, look, my job is to give you options and help you understand how your portfolio works, mm-hmm. and then give you some options. That's it. I'm not here to convince you that you need to save money because you already know that.
Right.
I know that. We all know that.
Right.
I'm not here to convince you. Or to, I guess convince you that you love your family. You know you love your family, right? And you're the main provider, right?
Right.
So, heaven forbid something happens to you, then what is that plan B? Let's put something in. Let's be proactive instead of reactive.
Right. So and I'm going to go into family just a little bit. You're a father of 4. Talk to me about how does being a dad influence the way you see financial planning?
It's huge. First of all, it's a huge blessing to have children. I think it's being in the business and growing up. From my perspective, there's 5 of us in my family, so there's 4 siblings. I love my parents to death. They busted their tail, worked their $A $sign off. the entire life. They're both retired, and guess what? They still work. But one of the things that I wish I could go back and change is, my parents have a second, third grade education. They have a lot of common sense, right? But when it comes to finances, yeah, they're not very well versed. So had they number one learned and been able to get the same information that you and I have gotten for a number of years, right? They'd have been in a much better financial position. But also, and they didn't know they were doing this, keeping us from those particular subjects. There's certain things you just don't talk about, right? Finances being one of them. We couldn't go to a restaurant and touch the receipt.
Right.
No, you don't do that. That's disrespectful, and you just don't do that. Now, my kids, I do the exact opposite. So hammering down on the subjects that are really not talked about. We need to put them in bold, and we need to discuss, and we need to talk more about it, because that's how we're going to learn. So I tell my kids the rules of money. How does your money accumulate? How does it grow? How is it protected? What are the risk factors, right? And how much does Uncle Sam take from you, and teach them those concepts? That would be absolutely huge.
And that's what we teach our clients.
That's exactly what we teach our
that's
clients.
what we need to teach our clients. And we are educators.
Yes.
We're not really financial planners.
Right.
We're educators.
Yeah.
Because the decision falls on them, period, of we're going to lay all of it out in front of them, a plan, and they plan A, B, and C, and here's the outcome of those plans.
Correct.
Because it's all about ones and zeros, remember?
That's it. That's what it comes down
We're
to.
going to lay out these plans, and you're going to choose a plan that you feel you're going to be comfortable with.
Correct. And once they have a certain level of understanding, and they start seeing the difference, it's like, you were a bodybuilder, right? Mm-hmm. So if I wanted to look like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or I mean, you're still pretty strong dude. So if I wanted to get to that status, do you think that me going to the gym trying to do my own thing, am I going to get there faster than if I just came to you and say, hey, Jake, man, I need to talk to you. Give me a plan. Show me how to do this.
I had a trainer.
Bam.
So here's how it went for me. And so I started going to the gym. I says, I'm just going to get fit. And I started going. I started seeing all these guys saying, holy crap, these guys, So I started doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
Big mistake. I started getting injured. It started being a detriment to me.
Oh, yeah.
Until I found out that my breathing, my rep count, my speed, my food, all of that counted, but it all had to work together.
Right.
And I wasn't letting it work together. I was just getting on there and getting stronger and pushing more when I didn't realize that what they call stabilizer muscles in your joints and things like that had to be strengthened too with some lighter weights and some free weights. So if I wasn't doing that, all I'm doing is tearing apart those joints. And I started having back problems. And today I still have problems with my shoulders because of that. But I learned, so I hired a trainer. It's a good friend of mine. Right. I hired a trainer, and we started working together. And I started getting better and stronger, and I was able to help. I'm able to help others at this point. Yeah. I don't do it now still because I'm a little older, but I still know the mindset, what it takes.
You
to
learned.
do
You
that.
saw the difference.
I learned and saw the difference.
So when you were working out, doing your own thing, you were working out in a variable
environment.
And then you switched over to the indexed, taking less risks. Now you weren't
less risks. Exactly.
So that's big, man.
And
that's
the gains, I had all the gains. And none of the losses because I stopped getting injured. Wow, I like that. How you transitioned that into finance, sweet. Bro. That's awesome. Sweet. All right. So we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna flip a switch right here and talk about family and motivation. Okay. True. You're a father of 4. Yes. How does being a dad influence the way you see financial planning? I know it's huge.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. I going back to I love and respect my parents. They've instilled a lot of you can't put a price on what they've instilled in you. Hard work, respect, but in terms of money, okay. One thing I go back and I tell them both, look, what I do now, I wish I could turn back the clock and you guys and you guys would be able to incorporate this, you'd be in a better financial position. We can't do that. So I tell my parents, I wish we would have discussed it more at the dinner table. We'd go to a restaurant, go out to eat, and as little kids, I'm sure Dad paid $50, $60 or whatever. So we all
there's the numbers working in that little head, right?
Yeah. We couldn't touch the bill. We were not allowed to touch the bill. We weren't even allowed to talk about like the prices. But you know what that does? It kind of keeps it like. Then you start thinking it's bad, right? So with my kids, I do the opposite.
I have surrounding me. I have a family like that is really. We don't talk about that stuff because we don't want to. We don't want to know, and we keep it back here because it's private, and it's fearful to discuss that stuff.
Yes.
And I just recently had one of the kids, and he listens to these, and he's going to know. Yeah. But he just came to me and says, "I need to talk about my financial future, and you're the guy I want to go to."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's huge, man. So I do the opposite with my kids because if you don't talk about something, then
how do you expect
to learn? Whereas if you're talking about it all the time, I mean, you can. My youngest is a year and a half, right? My oldest is 27, right? So, these guys
big gap there.
Yeah, so 27, 23, 17, and 1.5, and I think I'm done, but we'll see. But anyway, I talk to them about this all the time. That because I want them to learn the rules. If they don't know the rules, how do they play the game? The money game out there is real. Right, you shouldn't have love for the money, but understanding the rules is going to help you do better at the game.
Exactly. So there's some lessons from your children that inspire the way you lead and serve clients. What are they?
You can learn a lot from your children. The disparity between my oldest and my youngest, obviously 27 and a year and a half, is a big gap there, right? But I wish I could turn back the clock and slow down my parenting and my attention for my children, right?
Right.
So one of the biggest lessons from having a new little gremlin is, I try and appreciate and I try and listen more to, their body language, the guy's, he's a year and a half, he's not talking yet, obviously, right? But just kind of appreciate, and not just appreciate, but listen more like, okay, what does he need? What can I do? How do I'm not quick to help him, if he's crying, he's mad because he can't. I like to let them figure it out.
Right.
Because there's huge lessons in that. I don't want him to think that someone's always coming to the rescue. No, you got to figure it out. And as a kid, if you're brought up that way, I think it makes a world of difference.
I see that. I think it's important to let kids and I see these helicopter parents even as they're older, and it's like we are doing a disservice by my daughter. I gave her a car. Okay, it was her first car, but then the starter went out on it, and she said, "Dad, I need a starter." I said, "Okay, buy a starter. I'll put it in for you." Yeah. What? You're not going to buy the starter? No. Part of the responsibility of having a vehicle is that now you're responsible for doing A, B, and C. Correct. I'll give you labor for free. Yeah. But there's, it's a different. There's lessons to be learned there.
Yeah, there's lessons, and it's tough to do that, man. Especially with girls. Trust me, I'm very guilty of that. But I think that for me, and I look, and I can kind of relate that to when you're working with a client. I think one of the biggest disservice to a client is not fully engaging and listening to what's important to them.
Right.
Okay. Even if we know what we're going to provide them, you gotta make sure that when you give certain recommendations and whatnot, it goes back to, well, look, this is based off your need, your want. And I'm going to add a little bit of, sprinkles on it to better it or upgrade it for you. But that's huge. The listening aspect is, God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
that's true.
Yeah, I think
sometimes they say it, and I'm in recovery, and everybody knows that. But sometimes they say, take the cotton out of your mouth, or take the cotton out of your ears, and put it in your mouth, and listen.
Yeah, that's big. That's big, and people appreciate that, But yeah, no, that's huge. I think that children are obviously a lot smarter than we give them credit for. But
you have no idea.
There's lessons and lessons after lessons, that you can learn from even the older kids too.
Everybody wants to. I want to be heard. I want to be valued. Right. I want what I have to say to be valued. You do.
Yeah.
Don't we think that our kids, young children, growing up, want to be valued and heard as well?
Oh, that's big.
Big. I think that that's really important for us to get as adults, is that our kids want to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
We need to listen. Yeah. And I'm not the best at it. I'll pull my own covers and say, I'm not the best at it.
Right.
But you know what? As I say this and as I go day by day, I'm learning more and more that if I want to be heard, I need to listen.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that validates when you're listening, you're hearing them, and they can see, right? Your clients, your kids can see that, but it gives them a sense of satisfaction that, okay, wow, my dad or my financial planner here, he's actually listening, and he's taking, he's not just disregarding what I'm saying, and so I think that that goes to when you're providing a great level of service, then it just helps validate people's feelings,
right?
And they know they're being heard,
right?
That's big.
So, you've worked with everyday families and even well-known restaurants and businesses. What have you learned from serving such a wide range of clients?
Everyone's goals and needs are different. I don't care if it's, you got, John owns a pizza joint here, and you got, Amy that owns a pizza joint. They're different. They're in different worlds in terms of their assets, their needs, their goals. So you have to again, going back to doing a proper sit down with them and evaluation, kind of like going to the doctor. Doctors when you go first sit down, they don't, I'm quite sure they don't look at you and say, okay, I'm dealing with this person who's 5'5", whatever, then this is a recommend. No, they look at you, they figure out what am I dealing with here? What are the needs? How can we help? How can we better
they
the
take
situation?
your blood pressure, they draw blood.
Everything.
They take your pulse.
Yes.
They take your temperature. They're getting all these facts about you.
Correct.
And as doctors, knowing what those facts mean,
right? Yeah,
they're able to help better.
It's not like this. They're going to say, okay, look, for every single client, I'm going to give them amoxicillin.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's different dosages and all that good stuff, but understanding the needs and their want, and really, you got to be honest with them. Hey, look, this certain product may be great for one individual, but not necessarily for the other.
Right. You say that, and I'm going to go to the whole the mechanic thing. I could have 2000 Toyota Camrys sitting in front of me that both need a water pump and a radiator.
Yeah.
I am not going to do those two jobs exactly the same.
Correct.
There are going to be other variables around those vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be mileage. There's going to be wear and tear. There's going to be how it was treated, how it was maintained. All of that comes into play.
Right.
So I always ask history when I work on a vehicle. I say, what's the history on the car? What's been done to it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a doctor. I'm taking an inventory. I'm taking an inventory sheet of saying what's going on here. I'm evaluating the vehicle first before I lay a wrench on it, because it may be something underlying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that goes back to, listening and evaluating. You have to do a proper evaluation to give a proper recommendation.
Exactly.
That's big.
So what do you think holds many families back from achieving financial independence?
Well, it's all, again, it comes back to financial literacy. It's not mandated across the United States. Okay. It should be. And I don't want to open up a can of worms, but I
we
think,
could have a whole series on that.
Oh, 100%. Matter of fact, we used to have those podcasts and with the individual who was here years back, and I think it died out. But if it would have evolved, you're only making a difference. Even if you touch one person, if you help one family.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes down to education, man. And it starts at home. It starts as young children from toddlers. You know, if you start embedding like some of the stuff, 3 rules of money, right? How does your money grow, right?
Yeah.
How does it accumulate? How does it grow? How is it protected, right? And how do we pay taxes? So understanding the rules from the beginning, when a child is 10, 15, 20 years old, now when he's out there in the workforce, I mean, it'll affect them for generations to come. So it definitely starts with education.
So, and I believe in that 1,000%. Education is really important. I mean, in all of my businesses, I mean, not so much the notary and the mechanic, but in the real estate business, we're educators.
Yes.
You know, I'm supposed to educate. And there you go again with the whole transactional thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could have 2 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses right next to each other, same model, built in the same year, and those 2 transactions are going to be night and day from each other.
Right.
Because of the family that lives there, what's the wear and tear? I mean, all of that. So it's you know, educating our clients is the number one key. Financial literacy, financial independence is an educational thing, and we just have to find people willing again to listen.
Yeah. I think we have to keep doing our due diligence to help as many clients, but also as well, just kind of change the narrative, man. I mean, and let's be very honest. You know, finances is probably not for some. This doesn't apply for everybody. It's more of a general statement. Financial literacy is not the most sought after or the sexiest conversation.
No,
but we got to find it. We got to find a way to make it that way. So more people are attracted to it.
So I think that kind of answers, but if you have another answer to my next question, if you could give one powerful mindset shift to every family listening, what would that be?
Look, doing for me personally, I think I don't have an idea how impactful, but I know it would be very impactful, is going back to, hey, you have books on various subjects, you know, for toddlers, for babies. You know, I read to my son who's 1.5 years, but there's various books that you can maybe instill some of the concepts and the fundamentals that we preach.
Right.
You know, yes, they're learning how to count. Yes, hey, but look, you know, showing people how compounding, the rule of compound works, right? Showing people risk factors, right? Embedding some of those fundamentals and concepts in books from childhood is going to make a huge even taxes, man.
You just gave me an idea for my next book. I'm serious, dude. You just gave me an idea for my next book. It's a children's book.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
We need to have children's books that are available that take it to their level.
Correct.
And educate our children as they're growing up to learn this stuff so that it's important to them as it is to us.
Yeah, and making it like for kids, right? I sit there and watch cartoons with my little guy, and I forget what the Grace is. I forget what the cartoon, what the name of the cartoon is, but they're talking about the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. They got them pretty hip songs, man. That are attention grabbers. I mean, I'm even like, dude, this is.
They had that back in the 70s. It was an education thing. It was Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh,
that's what they called it back then in the 70s, the 60s and 70s. The Schoolhouse Rock, and they had the ABCs, they had the math, they had it all, reading, all that stuff. That's and the fact that we can show that to our kids today is great.
Yeah.
So your mission is to help 1 million families gain financial independence. Why that number?
You got to set the bar high.
Exactly.
You got to set the bar really, really high. I was, what was I reading? I forget what I was reading or I saw a couple days ago. And, oh my God, what show was it? Oh, well, I won't even mention the name. But anyway, it applies to goals. One guy asked the other guy, hey, why are you looking to set the bar so damn high? And he says, well, you know what? In this world, if you're not taking risks, you're not living.
It's true.
You're not making a difference. You're not being impactful. So you set the bar high, but then it requires work on our behalf.
So here's the thing about goals, and I learned this early on in my mentorship, and when I was mentored in the real estate business, is it's not about the goal. It's about the fact that you set the goal. And goals can always be changed.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we change them for the better. I'm hoping that next time we talk is 2 million. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You've reached that. So
Absolutely.
Once we reach that goal, let's set a goal that in your mind is attainable.
Correct.
Number one.
Yes.
Know that it can be changed, so it's not chiseled in stone. It's not forever. And once we get that mindset, I think that even our kids set goals.
Yeah.
I'm going to get up every day at 7 o'clock and read, or I'm going to get up every day at 7 o'clock before I go to school and do something for my mind, and set that goal for 30 days. See, therein makes the goal attainable.
Absolutely.
It does, saying I'm going to get up every morning from now on to do this. That's a big goal. That's forever.
Be specific.
That's finite. Yeah. So the goals have to be made, and that you just said the word. They have to be specific,
correct,
attainable, and know that they can be changed. Yeah. So setting that goal, that's powerful.
Yeah. You got to crush those, because goals they're meant to be broken.
That's right. That's right. And there's the other thing too. Yep. So what does legacy mean to you personally?
You gotta. For me, it's carrying. For me, when the good Lord decides to bring me home, I don't want to be. I want to be mentioned. I want there to be, okay, this guy made a difference. He left a legacy. He left maybe even the start. I don't know. I mean, we don't know our time. He may bless me with another 50 or 100 years. I don't know. He may bless me with 20, 10, 5. I don't know. But I think that leaving something behind, that you stood for something, that you actually took initiative to try and make an impact, whether it's just in your community or the world, but you made an impact and you got to a certain point. For me, that's a legacy of its own. If I reach that benchmark of 1 million families, or like you said, maybe 2 million, maybe I reach 500, I don't know. But we're going to be, I want to make sure that and Carlos and some of the other guys say, I want to make sure that my grandkids know my name.
Yep.
And that we actually, we read books. We read books on the Rockefellers. We read books on the Carnegies. We read books on George Washington. We read books on, several folks. They made a legacy. They made impact, and we don't want to be known. We want to be known for the positives, not for the negatives, right? So, from a financial perspective, I want to leave my family to be in a good financial position.
And to do that, you have to do that today.
You have
legacy
to do that today.
Isn't for the future. It really is for today. You build today. Legacy today.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It starts today. Correct.
So looking ahead, what's next for you in your journey as a leader, father, financial professional?
Just to continue to evolve and grow, man. You gotta, like you said, the goals that we hit and attain, we gotta keep raising the bar. Just out of our office here in Fresno, we want to take over the whole office. We want to take over the whole building, right?
I'm liking that idea.
We want to, and we're buying into this dream because we have mentors that are giving us vision, right? They're giving us vision about, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. And I'll tell you what, when we do that, we're going to be proud of ourselves, but now we're going to set some even more crazy goals. Like now we're actually going to have our own little island. I don't know, whatever the case may be. But taking it step by step, crossing the 100, 500 licenses for your own organization. And I'm talking like your organization.
Right, each.
My organization. Yeah, so we have to, So, and that in conjunction that's going to break down barriers like crazy, man. So continue to evolve. And
it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to change a lot of lives.
Now, here's what I will say. from a family perspective, growing. I don't know. I think I'm good where I'm at. I'm not going to continue to compound, but the good Lord, he's got that all written down. So I'm blessed with my 4 children.
Yeah.
I want to be able to instill and help them, and then eventually give them the baton. Hey, now you got the tools to be able to, do bigger things. Make more impact and help more families.
Carry the torch.
Amen to that.
Carry the torch. So where can listeners connect with you or learn more about your work?
There are, our casa is their casa. They can visit us here at 516 West Shaw.
Suite 112.
Suite 112, Fresno, California, right down the street from Fig Garden. I've got a Facebook account. I've got Instagram. I've got LinkedIn. I'm trying to get more out there in terms of social media, utilizing technology. But any questions, or maybe they'd like to learn a little more about what we do. We invite them to come visit us in person, or set a time to Zoom with us, and we love to be able to share our thoughts and any way we can help.
There you go, folks. That's it right there. Jose Rodriguez, look him up on Facebook. Look him up here at the office. Jose, one last thing. Any final encouragements for families who may feel financial independence is out of reach?
Yeah, it's taking that initial talking, just sitting down, open up the conversation, give it a chance, give it a shot. Because I was that guy that it's crazy how the world takes you through these twists and turns, but I was that guy that didn't believe in something as simple as life insurance. I was that guy that when someone would speak on that subject, their lips continued to move, and I just zoned them out. I was that guy that didn't want to talk to people about my finances. I was that guy that sat down with, I didn't want to pay. I felt I couldn't afford to pay somebody to help me invest or save money I didn't have. Okay. So getting out of that mindset and sitting down with a professional or an expert, right, is only going to help you understand, gain knowledge, and open up the door to help you and your entire family. Getting over the fear. Oh, I don't know if I can qualify. I'm not sure if I can. Look, man, I don't care. Start saving $5, $10, $20 a month. I don't care. But where you save it, how it's growing, how it's protected.
Key.
That's key.
So something I want to add to that. It says here, the question was, who may feel financial independence is out of reach. And I want to let people know that people like Jose and myself and David and Carlos and the people in our office,
mm-hmm.
when you're trying to reach for something, if you can't reach it, we meet you where you're at.
Yes.
So you don't have to reach.
Correct.
Sit back, let us come to you and provide you with the tools and the knowledge and the expertise that it takes to help you reach that. We'll give you the tools, just like you can't reach something on the on a top shelf they have those things now, the extensions where the little clip thing where you just reach up there and you grab it or a step stool, Right. We provide that, but you have to let us meet you where you're at.
Correct. Just open the dialogue, let us do the heavy lifting, leverage
mm-hmm.
us to help you, and help us help you. That's it.
So we're tools.
We are.
We're tools in a toolbox. Just reach in and take out
right.
one of us.
That's right.
Jose, again, thank you so much for coming in. I know we went a little long, but it was worth it, man. It was worth
Absolutely.
it.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a real pleasure, man. Had a great time, and let's keep pushing, man.
All right. Again, thank you, everybody, for listening again, and we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning into the Evans Legacy Financial Podcast. If you got value from today's episode, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more real conversations that move the needle in life and business. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and never stop chasing what matters.